welcome to Fantasy Football Talk with your boys. I have Brian Gertler with me. We're gonna be talking about some NFL, some fantasy football. I don't know. We're just gonna talk today.
We're gonna talk.
Yeah.
It's the Friday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Almost break.
Our palates are ready for some good turkey.
Oh yeah. Always ready.
And some good football as well. So let's just
of
dive
course.
right in.
That's the best part of Thanksgiving.
Is the football.
Yeah. I'd almost take that over the food, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, with your mother's cooking, it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would choose.
Have you had my mother's cooking?
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah.
Her name's Pam, right?
Her name is Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, Pam.
I'm sure
you're watching this at home. Hi, Mom. Look at me. So Brian, we recently made a fantasy football trade.
Oh no.
And
yeah.
What do you think about how do you think it's gonna turn out for both of us?
Yeah. So to break down the trade, I believe it was LeSean McCoy and Phillip Rivers.
Yeah. So you gave away LeSean McCoy and Phillip Rivers.
Yep. I gave away LeSean McCoy and Phillip Rivers for Alex Smith and Doug Martin, who I believe I dropped.
Yeah.
Did I drop him?
I don't know if you have, but
I'll have to check that.
I hope you have, because he has been doing nothing for me all year.
Yeah. I dropped him.
So good trade on my part so far.
Very good trade on his part. The only reason why I picked that trade was because we're in a league currently, a very controversial league, I would say, to say the least.
It is a controversial league.
With 2 quarterbacks per team.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into that right now.
It gets some people heated.
Yeah, it's very heated.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about the trade. So I wanted to sell LeSean McCoy, my boy
LeSean McCoy.
I wanted to sell him pretty low.
Yeah.
To just sort of appetizing, like, hey, maybe this would be a great trade for you, Ethan. But I don't think he's going to be doing anything for the rest of the year. That's a bold prediction. He's also not been doing much.
See, but what I'm thinking is, since Tyrod Taylor just got benched, right? So they're counting on a rookie quarterback.
Right.
Which that means they're gonna have to count on LeSean McCoy more than ever.
Well, we'll see.
We don't know how this guy's gonna do.
Totally. Sometimes, and this is sort of like a strategy that you'll see in a lot of rookie quarterbacks, where they'll come in and they'll be passing to people that they've been passing to a lot in practice, which is usually not the starting running back. It's usually like maybe a backup running back, maybe a tight end. And so what happens is, and this is like an arguable statement, but what happens is a backup quarterback or somebody will come in, play a lot with a running back that they're used to, not to replace LeSean McCoy, but to just say, this guy's comfortable with this guy, so we're going to give him more reps.
But I don't know. I think when it comes to rookie quarterbacks, they don't have the experience. Sometimes it's hard to get it to the wideout, right? So it's going to be tough to get it to Kelvin Benjamin.
Totally.
Which a lot of times the easiest decision is just to dump it off to the running back.
Right.
Which LeSean McCoy is a big part of their passing game.
Right. And that's why we're in a PPR league, points per reception. Yeah. And so that's a big deal to have a running back that's also basically a slot wide receiver. And I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that at the time of the trade. I didn't know that Tyrod was going to be benched either.
And nobody really expected that.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have made that trade, I don't think, if I would have known that Tyrod would have been leaving.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have this hope in the back of my head, like LeSean's just still not going to do much. But I am glad I got Alex Smith.
Right.
I think
Your
at the end of the day,
pretty desperately needed a quarterback.
Yeah.
Because you were working with who?
At that time.
That's pretty bad.
During that time, my starting quarterbacks were Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yikes.
Yeah, I should just stop right there.
Yeah.
Who else was it?
Did
Ryan
you have
Fitzpatrick, Andy
Dalton,
I think,
and Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor, and then I had Big Ben.
You had a bunch. You had Big Ben and Phillip Rivers as well.
Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, Tyrod Taylor, Andy Dalton.
You've had so many.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Those were all on my team at one time.
See, but I looked at the settings before the draft for this league, and I saw that it was a 2-quarterback PPR league, which I'm glad I looked at the settings beforehand, because that drastically changed my strategy.
That was a smart move.
So I was reaching for quarterbacks pretty early in the draft. So I snagged Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Alex Smith pretty early.
Yeah.
So my skill positions were kind of lacking, and now that I had Ezekiel Elliott as my running back, he's done great for me all year. Yeah. But since he's suspended now, I was like, I'm gonna be hurting for running back.
I guess we can go off on a tangent with Ezekiel Elliott and his suspension, but I made the argument early in the year that his suspension wasn't going to be upheld until later on in the year, which I was right, of course. But
you were telling me multiple times in the season, you're like, next week he's not going to play. And next week he played.
All right,
and he
the
played
reason
the
why
next week,
the reason why I kept doing that was because I wanted to weigh in on my trades for Alfred Morris for you to get rid of the backup running back. Because
how's
honestly,
he doing for you? How's Alfred Morris doing for you?
I don't know. He's had 1 week. He's had 1 week to test that.
But he didn't do anything.
No,
in that 1 week.
He had over 50 yards.
Ooh, 50 yards.
What are you talking about?
Congrats, Alfred Morris.
Yeah, it is hard to jump into a running scheme when primarily you're not getting any touches because Ezekiel Elliott's the main running back.
Yeah.
They didn't even use Darren McFadden very much. They mainly used...
Oh, he's old.
Yeah, they mainly used Rob Smith and Alfred Morris.
Yeah.
Which we just had an argument about Alfred Morris, but I really don't want to get into that either.
Yeah.
How
nobody
many years
knows
he's been
about
playing.
him. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, we had a good talk about that.
Yeah, we don't have to bring that up because we were both wrong.
No, I was more right.
Yeah,
just for the record. But moving on.
But Ezekiel, the suspension being upheld starting last week made sense because really they couldn't appeal it as far as like once it got to that court of appeals, it really couldn't go any further than that. And I think Ezekiel knew that, and I think his lawyers were ready to just be like, all right, well, let's just call it. You've gotten this far in the season. If you make it to the playoffs, you get to play in the playoffs.
Right.
So I think this was probably the best case scenario for Ezekiel Elliott if he had to have the suspension.
Right. So he's coming back.
Right.
For the end of the season. For
end
the last
of the season.
2 games or something like that.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like the running game for the Cowboys I think it'll lean more on their rookie Rod Smith, I think.
Yeah, Rod Smith.
Than Alfred Morris, but we'll see.
We'll see. I think they're going to split the touches.
Yeah.
Pretty evenly. But another thing I wanted to talk about, which is near and dear to my heart, is the Broncos.
Ew.
God bless the Broncos. Goodness gracious.
The poor Broncos.
It's rough. It is rough. So, I mean, I'm a huge Broncos fan. I have been my whole life. So, I've never really seen them be this bad. This is horrible.
And it's like their team is you're waiting for something big to happen all the time because they've done big things.
Right. And they have the skill.
Right.
And I just don't know what it is. I don't know.
I think it's
do you think it's
Brock
a coaching?
Osweiler?
Do you think it's a coaching problem, or is it a quarterback problem?
Maybe a little both. I would lean more towards a quarterback problem because they've. I mean, ever since Brock Osweiler left initially,
right?
It seems it's always been a problem.
It has been, yeah.
But I felt like it was leaning more on. For a while, it was if we have a good quarterback. Just an even decent quarterback behind the helm, our defense can do the rest. And now you're seeing like their defense is getting older and
they're not performing like they used to.
No.
It's I mean, the last 2 games they gave up 51 and then 41 or something crazy. Granted, it's 2 of the best teams in the league. I mean, Philly and then New England.
Yeah. And it comes down to it is their defense. Like, stereotypically, they're like, oh, you think of the Broncos defense, you're like, oh, man, this is like an elite defense.
Yeah.
You want them on your fantasy team.
And they have been for the last 3 or 4 years.
Right. And then now it's like you're picking matchups with them. It's like, yeah, they're a good team, but they're not like a Jacksonville where you can just throw them in every single week and you know that they're going to get big
Jacksonville,
points.
L.A.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what off-season moves they might make, but with their defense. But currently it's like you could tell it's just a different atmosphere.
Tough. And, I mean, at least last week, I watched the full game, and the offense wasn't performing poorly. They did okay. Brock was hanging in there. I mean, he threw a couple bad picks, but I mean, everyone does, I guess.
Yeah. And that was his first week as a starter back.
Right. So, well, maybe second.
I don't remember.
I think it was second. But anyways, I don't think it was the offense's problem. It was special teams. Holy cow!
No, I didn't watch the game.
It was garbage. There was a kickoff return. There was a muffed punt, which gave the ball back. There was multiple horrible penalties on like fourth downs, and just like it was garbage. It was hard to watch. Oh,
yeah,
it was real bad.
Yeah, I have no comment on the Broncos. I'm like,
it's tough.
The Broncos are like, in my head, have always been your fan base, and like I've just like sort of like kind of listened to what you say about them. So I don't know a whole lot about them, but what I do know is they did start off strong with their running game, with their passing game was kind of decent.
And I think that's why we've struggled lately, is because our running game is just
it's going down
non-existent.
Which it's too late. I would say it's too late for this now, but I was able to trade C.J. Anderson pretty early on. I would say the week before he just went downhill. Was it? Who's the running back that came in? Devontae Booker? Or was that
Devontae Booker? Yeah. And Jamal Charles.
Yeah. When Devontae Booker came back, I think, was he injured or something?
Yes.
At the beginning of the year?
He was.
So when he came back, I traded him C.J. Anderson the week before he came back, and you could see like a drastic change in C.J.'s points. I don't have him pulled up, but like I was able to trade him for a pretty high amount.
Which that was a good move on your part, trading him early on in the season.
Yeah, and same with Lamar Miller. Like him and Lamar Miller were both great performers early on, but you wanted to trade them high after you realized like, okay, well this is probably just like a fluke,
right?
Because they're not on good. They're older. I mean, not necessarily older. They're just like they're not elite running backs, and they're not on an elite team that's known for running. Right. So yeah.
It's always just been kind of put on the defense. I mean, our defense has carried the Broncos for years.
Right.
And that's the only reason we won the Super Bowl. But anyways, our league is pretty heated sometimes. At least the group chat.
Our league, and I think the most of the like arguments stem from, I'd say they stem from either people trying to prove themselves or just arguments about the NFL app.
Yeah, that's the vast majority of all of our conversations.
Yeah, and I think I lean more towards both of those in my arguments that I have. Yeah. Most of my arguments either come from between me and you or
Dan and everybody else.
Yeah.
He just likes to talk a lot of smack.
Yeah, so in the league it's an 8-person league.
Yeah.
We have Brennan and Jenna, who are married, Brennan and Jen, if you're watching this, I think it's unethical to be in a league together.
Brennan basically has 2 teams.
Yeah.
He tells Jenna what to do. She doesn't know.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if he said that to you or not. But stereotypically, that's what happens. Right. Because it's not like a sexist thing, like the girl doesn't know how to do it. It's more like the guy usually cares about it way too much.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's just stereotypically that's what happens in a league. And I would not want to be in a league with my wife at all.
Yeah.
For that reason, but also for other reasons. But like I would just know that there would be ethical things that would come into play.
Sure.
You're just too close to somebody, like you're with them like when they're making decisions about like who you're going to trade, who you're going to, like...
Right, and you can sway them any way you want.
Oh, totally.
Because they'll believe it.
Totally. And that's another thing. If there was a blockbuster trade between Brenna and Jenin that leaned heavily...
Brenna and Jenin.
Brennan and Jenna... Did I say Brenna and Jenin?
Yeah.
Oops. Brennan and Jenna that leaned one way or another...
Yeah.
There's immediately going to be some pushback.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And that's happened in the league previously that I was in with... Mike Arb and Maggie Arb, dropping names. Mike was my former RC in Joy Hall here at Greenville University, and he's married to Maggie, and there was a trade that leaned really heavily in Mike's favor between Mike and Maggie, and now she's not in the league anymore.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it at that. And it was very controversial. I didn't side with anybody. I tried to stay out of that argument because it was very heated and got very personal very quickly. But going back to our league, there's Brennan and Jenna, Dylan Grider, student here, Noah Kinnear, and that's basically the bottom half. I'm just kidding. No, Brennan's on the top half.
We got Chris
Rank. He's bottom.
He's having a rough year.
He is having a rough year, and I don't have a lot of sympathy for Chris and Dylan in particular, and I don't mean to like call them out.
Well, they just don't care as much. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
It does come down to like just caring.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing. It's just like if you want to be in a competitive league, the people that really care about it, and when they see somebody who's not caring about it, like they have a benched, or they have like an injured tight end in a game that
I think Dylan has had Greg Olson on his starting lineup for
multiple weeks. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't checked, but that did happen one week that I can remember. Yeah. But
he finally took him out. Yeah, I'm playing him this week, but
it's just little things like that it's just like it's almost like a bye week or it's almost like an automatic win for who's ever playing them.
Definitely.
So it kind of sucks.
It's tough. I do enjoy being in leagues where everybody cares.
Right.
And everyone's active and
right.
Constantly checking the waivers. Like, it makes it easier for us when people aren't as active.
Right.
Because we care.
Right. And that's why you see, like, me, you, and Brennan, and I would say Daniel competing every week.
Yeah.
And then everybody else kind of, like, trickles down. Sometimes Noah's definitely into it.
He's had some good weeks.
Yeah. But he's not. It's just the way the cards were dealt. But he's not. Right. I've also made terrible trades with him that lean way more in my favor.
Yeah, I know. I tell him, I'm like, Noah, you gotta let me know, like when you're about to make a trade
with me,
because you've made some just absolutely horrible trades. I mean, you two have switched Drew Brees back and forth like 3 times.
Right, and that one not as much. I don't think that was as much controversy as the Antonio Brown for Kelvin Benjamin and Brandon Cooks trade.
That one, it gives me nightmares. That is a bad trade.
And if both Brandon Cooks and Kelvin Benjamin were in their prime playing, it would have made a little bit more sense for
the problem
his
is
team.
Kelvin Benjamin just got traded, and he's doing nothing with Buffalo. Yep. I'm not sure he's going to have a good rest of the year. Brandon Cooks hasn't done a whole lot. I mean, he's
like top like 15 wide receivers in the league. But
for Antonio Brown, who is easily in a PPR league, easily the number 1 receiver.
Right.
I mean, this week, what did he score? 42?
42 points, yeah.
That's insane.
Yep,
he went off. Yeah, against Noah, too.
Yeah.
So that makes it even better.
We talked about it. Yeah, I was actually going to make a trade for Noah this week, giving up Big Ben for, I think it was one of his running backs or something. I think it was, I was going to give him Big Ben and one of my running backs for Drew Brees and like a backup wide receiver he had.
Yeah.
But if he would have made that trade, he would have came out on the good end of it this week. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, poor kid. I mean, he's sitting at 4-6, so he's 6 out of 8, which isn't horrible. I mean, his record doesn't show how. I mean, he's done pretty well.
Yeah.
He's up there with the high scorers and stuff.
Right.
But he's just had some tough luck and
So what do you think the playoff picture will look like in our league? So we have
so what is it, top
first.
4 spots?
Yeah. So currently you're in first,
yeah.
Brennan's in second, I'm in third, and Jenna
is bringing up number 4.
Interesting.
It is interesting. It's crazy. I mean, having someone that doesn't care and she's not active in our league.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that, like, because I really don't know. I don't pay attention. Like, I don't watch her team like a hawk.
Right. I don't either.
But she's not active in the group chat. She's not, like, I'll message her. I think I messaged her once about a trade, and she was like, what? And that was the end of that conversation.
What's a trade?
No, she didn't say that. But, like, it's just like, I don't think she should be in the top 4 at all. I think she just had really weird matchups.
But playoff picture, what is it, the top 4?
Top 4,
okay. So it would be, if the playoffs started today, it would be I'm playing Jenna first week, you're playing Brennan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would luck out there, I think. I mean, I think I could hold my own against Jenna and make it to the finals. But Brennan has a good team.
Right.
He's been scoring pretty high. I think he's the second highest scorer next to me. Ooh, actually, he's 1 point behind Dan.
Okay, and
Dan scores a lot too.
I did some research on this actually. So
Which he's been getting so unlucky.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow.
But I did some research. So the points for and the points against in our league used to be heavily like the points against from first to last place in that category was like double what the points for was. Sorry, this is kind of hard to explain, but like but now it's like almost the exact same. So I think it's hovering around 220 for both of those.
You mean the gap between the range?
First and last and the points for and the points against range it's hovering around 220 for both of those.
It does look like 220, yeah.
So I think we're getting to a point in this season where that's not mattering as much. Where like definitely beginning of the year, and even if there's some weird fluke thing, near the end of the year, like you can be like, yeah, that was a really unlucky year for Daniel. But we're getting to the point in the year where
everything's kind of evening out.
Everything's kind of evening out.
It's as it should be, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. So and that's because everybody's like getting to play more people.
Right.
So.
All those fluke weeks are just like getting lower in number. I mean, Dan, the first 4 or 5 weeks, it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was almost
that poor
like
guy.
You're getting excited to watch Dan lose, even though his team is projected to win by like 20.
He has a good team.
Yeah,
and he scores a lot of points.
And it's not that he's over projected at all. It's that he's playing like teams on their best week.
He plays everyone on their best week. Like he played Dylan when Case Keenum scored like 40, which you would never count on Case Keenum to drop 40.
It's so weird, and it's hilarious, and at the same time, it's just like. Oh, no.
It's too funny.
Like, you're just waiting for Daniel's response at this point.
Right, exactly, because he's just like, man, the fantasy football gods hate me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he got a tie one week, which is just pretty crazy.
Bizarre.
That's super bizarre.
He got tied with the last place
team
with
in Chris.
With Chris.
Who's like won 2 games.
Yeah, he can't even get a win in there. So if I were to look at the playoff picture right now, I would say top 3, I would say me, you, and Brennan are going to be in the playoffs. And I would say... It's between Noah and Daniel for the playoffs.
I agree.
I don't think Jenna's gonna last in that.
I'm not sure if she will either. Yeah. I mean, she has the 3rd lowest scoring team. So I mean, Dan is killing her in points, and Noah's beating her pretty badly in points as well. But you're actually lucking out when it comes to points against.
Oh yeah, totally. And
other than last week,
right?
When you played me.
Yeah,
well, that's another story.
Yeah, that's not. We're talking about week 11. So.
He doesn't want to talk about last week. It was rough.
I lost to Ethan. That's it. That's what happened. And it was I made a ridiculously good call.
Yeah, you did.
With putting in Robert Woods.
That was good.
He was on waivers, or he was a free agent, and I was like looking at the players left on my team, and I was like, I need to put in somebody who's like gonna just go off because that's my only shot.
Yeah.
And Robert Woods had like a career game. I think he had like 30, upper 30.
Like 39.
Yeah, 39 points. And
he did great.
So that was a really good call. Unfortunately, I still lost by like 20 or something like that.
I just had a good week.
Yeah,
all
it was
my
a
players
great week on
stepped up.
And I think I'm gonna have a good week this week too.
Yeah.
With Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio.
Oh, and Antonio Brown. I mean, you have 71 points already.
Yeah, I'm already
between 2 players.
I looked at it. I'm already half what Noah's projected to get.
Oh, jeez.
With just 2 players playing.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I think you'll definitely. I think you'll beat Noah this week. That's for sure. And I'm playing Dylan. We'll see how that goes. I mean, projections are a little too close for comfort, but I think I can still handle it.
Yeah,
we'll see.
And I was looking at Dylan's team too. I want to coach Dylan right now because I want you to lose so bad. I want to make it so unfair for you. I want to trade Dylan like some ridiculously stupid trade with somebody on my
just
bench.
For this 1 week.
1 week and like get him back now.
Because Brennan and I are sitting at the top at 7-3, and you and Jen are next at 6-4. So I mean, it's still a close league at the top.
Right. And then there's a 2-win gap. I think it's 4-6 after that.
4-5-1 is Dan.
4-5-1 is Dan. Yeah. So I do think the playoff picture will be either Dan or Noah in that 4th place, maybe 3rd, depending on how the rest of the season goes. But we have 4 or 5 weeks left. I'm not sure until the playoffs.
I think I'm not sure about this league. I mean, the settings are a little different.
the first round's in week 16. This playoff setting.
Okay.
So I think it'd be 5 weeks.
Oh, is it only a 2-week playoff?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just a semifinal and then a final.
Okay.
So top 4 make it. So we'll see. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we'll see. It's been a fun year so far, though.
Yeah,
it's been a good
fun.
league. Yeah.
It has been a way better league than last year, which we had a 4-person
Oh my
league.
gosh, don't talk. It was horrible.
Was trash.
I'm never
a fun,
doing 4-people league again.
Yeah, it was a fun little league to look back on. Like, oh, I can move around my lineup in this league, and
Yeah.
I ended up getting second out of 4.
It was a little ridiculous because all of our teams were so stacked. Anyone
Right.
could win
Right.
any week.
It was funny, and I think me and Noah were 3rd and 4th.
You were, and then
we
playoffs
ended up
came.
winning.
Yeah.
Like it was 1st and 2nd. So
Yeah. It
really
just flip-flopped
stupidly,
and-
stupidly.
It was garbage.
Never do that.
But yeah, it's been fun. We'll do another one of these.
Yeah. We'll see.
Maybe come playoff time.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It'll be fun.
But for right now, thanks you for watching. This has been Fantasy Football Talk with Cha Boys.
Cha Boys.
Brian and Ethan.
CHABOIS.
Cha Boys. Anyways, signing off. Thanks for watching or listening.
Bye-bye.
See ya.